Explaining mental health to my parents. Mission impossible or totally doable? So, today, we're tackling one of the most difficult missions known to humankind. No, it's not climbing Everest or surviving a toddler's birthday party. It's explaining mental health to our parents in a way they actually understand. Ready for the challenge? Let's do this. But before we dive in, let's get one thing straight. Mental health is not just some trendy buzzword or something we should tiptoe around like it's Voldemort's name. Nah, mental health is the real deal, just as real as physical health. And if you're a parent, buckle up, because you'll need to know how to deal with this for both yourself and your kids. But don't worry, I've got you covered. Alright, myth-busting time. Let's clear the air here. Myth number 1. Mental health issues only affect people who are weak. Look, if I had a nickel for every time I heard this, I'd have enough to fund my therapy sessions. Truth bomb incoming. Mental illness isn't a sign of weakness. It's not like someone wakes up and says, you know what? I'm going to be depressed today. Just for fun. Mental health conditions like anxiety or depression are the result of this wild concoction of genetics, environment, and lifestyle. You don't choose it, but you can work with it. Can mental health issues really affect anyone? Absolutely. And no, not just some people. A whopping 1 in 4 people will experience a mental health issue in any given year. That's right. So next time you're at a family reunion, look around. Statistically speaking, somebody in that room is dealing with it. Might be you. Might be Aunt Karen. But it's happening. Now, here's a wild myth. Myth number 2. You can just snap out of it. Have you ever tried telling someone with a broken leg to just walk it off? Right, didn't think so. Mental health is not something you can just shake off. It's not like catching a cold. Sometimes you need help. Be it therapy, medication, or even just an understanding friend. And that's not a weakness, that's being human. Oh, and while we're at it, let's address another sneaky myth. Mental health is for adults. Kids are too young to be stressed. Hello? Kids have stress, too. Between school, social media, and their Fortnite rankings, yes, that's a thing. They've got their own battles. Kids can and do struggle with mental health, and they need help just as much as adults do. But why don't parents get it? Okay, now let's shift gears. Why is it so hard to explain mental health to some parents? Well, for one, stigma. A wild beast that we need to defeat. Growing up, many of our parents were taught to keep emotions bottled up. Don't talk about feelings. And mental health? Well, that was practically the equivalent of admitting you were possessed by an alien. Today, we know better, but old habits die hard. How can we overcome this mental health stigma? First, get your facts straight. Arm yourself with info like it's a superpower. Mental health issues are common and treatable, period. So, when explaining this to your parents, make it relatable. Tell them about that one friend or family member who's thriving now because they sought help. Stories stick. But even if your parents are open to hearing about mental health, here's another problem. Some just don't know where to start. And that's okay. This is where we come in. The golden rules of talking to parents about mental health. So, how do you have this conversation without both of you getting frustrated? Here's the game plan. Rule number 1. Create a safe space. And I don't just mean a physical space. I'm talking about a judgment-free zone, where your parents, and you, can talk freely. Don't jump in with advice the minute they say something. Sometimes, all people want is to be heard. Rule number 2. Ask open-ended questions. You want to get them thinking, not just saying, yes, or, no. Instead of asking, are you stressed? Try, what's been on your mind lately? Suddenly, you're having a real conversation instead of playing 20 questions. How can I get my parents to open up? Simple, lead by example. Open up about your own mental health. Tell them how you've felt during hard times and what's worked for you. Sometimes, the best way to teach is by showing. And hey, parents like to know that their kids aren't invincible, too. Rule number 3. Don't just say, everything will be fine. It sounds comforting, but trust me, it can be dismissive. Instead, say, that sounds tough. I'm here for you. There's a massive difference between offering solutions and offering support. Tackling the big questions about mental health. By now, you might be thinking, okay, but what if my parents start asking questions I don't know how to answer? Don't sweat it. I've got your back. Can mental health issues be cured? Not exactly. Mental health is something you can manage, not necessarily cure. But that doesn't mean people don't get better. Therapy, medication, lifestyle changes, they all help, but it's a continuous journey. Isn't therapy just for people with serious problems? No, therapy isn't only for major crises. It's for anyone who wants to work on their mental health. Think of it like going to the gym. You don't wait for your muscles to atrophy before you start working out, right? Same with therapy. What if my parents think mental health problems are just a phase? Phases are for the moon, not mental health. If someone's struggling, it's important to get help sooner rather than later. The longer we wait, the harder it can become. Wrapping it all up. A new understanding of mental health. Look, I get it. Explaining mental health to anyone who didn't grow up talking about it can be hard. But the more we talk, the more we reduce the stigma. So, whether you're talking to your parents, your friends, or even your stubborn Uncle Joe, remember, mental health is everyone's business. And if all else fails, just share this video with them. I'll explain it for you. You're welcome. Thanks for joining me today. Let's keep this conversation going in the comments. And if you're ready to learn more, hit that subscribe button. I'll be here, waiting with more mental health chats, dad jokes, and random facts you didn't know you needed.